This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
The Ben Ish Chai brings in Parshas Toldos that during Hagbah, when the Magbiah lifts up the Sefer Torah, not only is it advisable, as the Mishnah Brura recommends in Siman Kuf Lamed Daled Sif Katan Yud Beis, to be able to see the oisios. The Mishnah Brura says in the name of the Mikubalim that one should try to see the letters up close, that you could read them, and by doing so it brings a person great oyer. But the Ben Ish Chai adds further, one should make an effort to try to see a word that the first letter of the word is the same letter as the first letter of your name. So let's say your name is Moshe. You should try to see a word that begins with a mem, mayim. Let's say your name is Daniel. You should try to see a word that begins with a dalet, dagim, and so forth. And the Ben Ish Chai brings down in Parshas Toldos Shana Beis that he saw in the Sefer. Now interestingly, if one sits far away in the shul and they can't read the letter at the time of Hagbah, some say you should not get too close and run up to the Sefer Torah to be able to read it, because that looks arrogant, unless you're someone who is renowned and exceptional in their maisim. Others say that no, this is not considered gaiva. The Shulchan Hatar and other poskim do not seem to give this restriction. But be it as it may, there seems ideally to be an inyan to see the letters of the Sefer Torah, especially a word that begins with the letter that one's name begins with. What is this concept based on? Well, it may be connected to the idea that Yesh Shishim Ribai Oisios La Torah, there's 600,000 letters in the Torah, and there's 600,000 core members of Klal Yisrael. As the Zohar teaches us, quoted by the Pnei Yeshua in Kedushin, Yisrael stands for Yesh Shishim Ribai Oisios La Torah, and every Jew has their connection to one particular letter, and by seeing the letter that one is connected to, it brings a person great light. Well, my friend Rabbi Daniel Weinstein shared with me from the Sefer of Rabbi Avram Falaji, which I don't have, Pada es Abraham, in Ma'areches Hey. Rabbi Avram Falaji recommends that not only is it advisable that one should see a word during Hagbah where the first letter is the first letter of one's name, but this concept is alluded to in the very beginning of the Torah HaKadosha, connecting the end of the Torah to the beginning. The Torah ends, Le'enei Kol Yisrael, to the eyes of all of Israel. What should be to the eyes of all of Israel? What should all of Klal Yisrael look at? The Yesh Shishim Riba Yosef Torah, the 600,000 letters, but particularly BEREISHIS, Bayis Roish. That could be understood to mean Roish Bayis, the beginning of the word. Meaning, see a word where the first letter of that word is the same as the first letter of one's name. Now, why is this hanhaga so vital and so important that it's alluded to in the very beginning of the Torah? Perhaps it's for the reason we mentioned, that it is rooted in the idea that every Jew has a connection to one particular letter. And then, therefore, this is the opening message of the Torah HaKadosha. You're about to engage in a document. Yes, its depth is endless. It's infinite. I had a machshava that we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu used the Torah to create the world. Let's think about how limitless the world is. Our galaxy contains the sun. The sun is light years away. It takes the light of the sun 186,000 miles per second to travel to the Earth. And the sun is one of the closest stars of our galaxy. If one were to try to travel to the end of our galaxy, it would take millions of years. And that's our galaxy, which is one of the smaller galaxies. And our galaxy is only a speck of dust in the spectrum of the entire universe. And yet, how did Hashem create this infinite universe, this limitless universe? He used the Torah HaKadosha to create the universe. It's Estaka B'Iraisa Bara Alma. Well, if Hashem used the Torah to create this universe, think about how infinite the Torah is. If the Torah was used to create this endless universe, then the depth of every word and letter of the Torah is endless. But the Torah's message to us is, Don't be overwhelmed. Le'enei kol Yisrael BEREISHIS. You look at the first letter that's the same as your name. You have a connection to this document. You have ownership over this document. There's a letter here that's yours, that your soul is rooted in. This belongs to you. Don't be apprehensive. Be reverent, but understand, V'sein chalkeinu b'sarasecha. This is a document that your soul is inextricably bound and tied to. And with that hakdama, we begin BEREISHIS bara Elokim es hashamayim ve'es haaretz.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.